Hi guys, this is Cheriel Brown and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've recorded a video, but I took some time off in 2019 and I produced a stage play called Stuck that was in the DC Fringe Festival. It's called the DC Capitol Fringe Festival, and that premiered in July 2019. And I also wrote a book in 2019 called The Secret of Life Through Screenwriting: How to Use the Law of Attraction to Structure Your Screenplay, Create Characters, and Find Meaning in Your Script. This is that book right here. So when I was doing the YouTube videos in 2018, I was coming up with the ideas for my book, which included the law of attraction and the spiritual journey that each of us is on as actual people. So if we as actual people are on a spiritual journey, then that means that our characters are also on a spiritual journey. And my book was based a lot around that concept. So I want to talk about a movie that I have seen recently, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which was the movie about Mr. Rogers. And I want to talk about that film in connection with my book, The Secret of Life Through Screenwriting. So in my book, I talk about how your characters have to eventually learn that they are more than who they think they are. Basically, your characters have to have a spiritual awakening in the sense where they realize that all the answers that they need are within themselves. So I really believe that A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the movie about Mr. Rogers, really does this, because if we all think back to who Mr. Rogers was, Mr. Rogers was the television personality who had a children's show called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, who taught so many from my generation. I was born in 1981, and pretty much all the kids that I knew from the 80s grew up watching Mr. Rogers. And one of the things that Mr. Rogers did that people from previous generations complained about was that Mr. Rogers taught every child that he or she was special, and that there was nothing that that child could not do or could not achieve. And that really ties into what I want to communicate with my screenplays, because even though I wrote a book, I am first and foremost a screenwriter, and I have a production company called Third Person Omniscient Productions. So what I want to communicate with my movies is that each person has that special power inside of them. Basically, each one of us was made in God's image, and not only are we made in God's image, but we are a spark of the divine itself. So we have that power within us to do anything that we put our minds to, and we're capable of so much more than so many of us realize. So I really feel like the movie A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood really encapsulates that, and it really highlights that fact. The other thing that I like about A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I know that my past YouTube videos have talked about the analysis of the screenplay. Well, I'm still kind of doing that, but I'm doing it more in terms of how it relates to the concepts that I wrote about in my book. And what I love about A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is that it was mostly about the main character, Lloyd, coming to a point where he was able to let go of all the anger that he was holding on to from childhood and come to forgive his father. So I feel like we often see movies that are dedicated to the concept of revenge, and we don't always see movies that are dedicated to the concept of forgiveness. And we look at revenge and forgiveness. Revenge does not make our lives better, but the concept of learning how to forgive someone who's hurt us does make our lives better. Because if we do not learn how to forgive, we hold all that anger inside our bodies and we get sick. We have pains and aches that we can't explain why they are there. So it's way more important to write a movie or to make a movie that's about learning how to forgive than it is to make a movie about people taking revenge. I feel like most of us here on this planet hopefully are here so that we can raise the consciousness of society, and so we can get people to a place where everybody in society and society as a whole is a loving, kind place. I know that I want my films to make the world a better place, and I wrote this book because I'm hoping that it'll help screenwriters write screenplays that will in turn help raise the consciousness of humanity and make the world a better place. So I don't really have a whole lot to say about Mr. Rogers' movie, A Beautiful Day in Their Neighborhood, but I do want to say that I think that if you go see it, you will help raise your consciousness a little bit. And if you are familiar with who Mr. Rogers was, then you already know that he was an amazing human being. And the movie plays tribute to that in a very low-key way, in a way that I think Mr. Rogers himself would have been happy with. So if you have some time and you have some money, go check out the movie. If you don't have money to take your whole family to see the movie all at once, I understand, but definitely check it out when it comes out on streaming or on DVD. So I would definitely check the movie out because I do feel like it helps make the world a better place, which is what I think Mr. Rogers was all about in the first place. So anyway, thanks for checking out my video, and subscribe to the channel and tap that bell so you'll get notifications that I have a new video out. And you have a great week. Bye.